God doesn't exist. Really? I can answer every single one of the questions he's got. I have a radio show. I've been doing it for 4 years. I've been doing apologetics and answering questions for 30 years. And every single question he asked, I think every single one, maybe one or two, I might not be able to answer. How did God make? I don't know how God makes. But as far as theodicy, the problem of evil in the world goes, the necessary preconditions for intelligibility, how to be able to ask even a question, how is this to be determined by atheists? They have to sit and stand on the lap of God in order to slap him in the face. We could get into all kinds of things. Look, he mentioned, and a lot of atheists do this on the radio show, my debates. They'll do this. They'll say, I don't believe in a magical sky god. And then my response is always, why do you guys always bring up magic? I don't believe in magic. Why do you believe in magic? Why do you bring it up? I don't believe in magic. But Mr. Tabash brought up an empirical or a magical world that was derived from ancient times. That's not Christianity. It's not the biblical revelation. It's not the case. It's a misrepresentation. He said miracles of God violate the laws of nature. How do you know? How do you know? If we went back 200 years with a flashlight and shined it on somebody, or a laser beam, I got a laser right there, and shined it on a laser, and some Aboriginal jungle person said, oh, that's magic. Well, it's not magic. It's just something that they don't understand yet, because the physical laws are understood later technologically, and we can do that. Why is it that God, if he exists, can't manipulate or control the laws that he created to bring about what he desires? It's perfectly logical and consistent to say that within the God belief system. Asking the question doesn't refute anything. It does not establish the atheist position. How can you believe in a God with no physical parts? This is how, watch. I believe in a God with no physical parts. That's how I can do that. I do not assume that all minds are like mine, and you better be glad that's not the case. My wife especially. But I'll tell you, you can't assume that the only kind of mind that exists is a physical human mind. How do you know that? You can say, well, I haven't seen any others. Well, does it mean it doesn't exist? And not that we can say, well, we can't prove it doesn't exist, and the proving of negatives and all this stuff, or disproving. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can't just say, look, this is all we've seen, so that's why we know that's all there is. Well, that's an assumption, and it's a philosophically based assumption. It's not rationally based. Even science itself presupposes the validity of certain assumptions it has to go into. But the question ultimately, we could go into a whole other debate series on how do atheists validate their assumptions and the necessary preconditions for the validity of them. They can't do it. You guys, I'm sorry, you can't do it. Not from an atheist perspective, you can't. You cannot validate transcendentals. You cannot validate objective morality. And therefore, you cannot